Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you please rise and salute the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have roll call, please?
Chairperson Kleehammer.
Here.
Vice Chair Dickinson.
Here.
Debbie Gushian. Here. Scott Machowski.
Here.
Ron Fullerton.
Here.
Joe Walkerly.
Here.
Chief Paul Daly.
Here.
Mayor Kapadas.
Here.
Alternate Vanilla.
Here.
Alternate Nubenstein.
Here.
And I forgot John Ranieri.
Here.
David Rowan.
Here.
And John Petty.
Here.
Thank you. Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner: posted on the bulletin board, in the Borough Clerk's office, emailed to the retrospect, and the Courier Post. First order of business is the approval of the February 11 minutes. Do you have any questions on the minutes? Hear a motion to approve? All right. Motion by Paul, seconded by Ron. Thank you. Want the phone book there? Yeah, need your phone book. There we go.
Okay, me.
Yes. All right, under new business, we have ABC Supply Company. You want to step forward, please? This is an informal hearing for a use variance and site plan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tom Barnes. I'm the real estate asset manager for ABC Supply Company.
Your name is Tom?
Thomas L. Barnes.
Thank you.
And Charlie Yuppis is the branch manager of the local store. Charlie's here as well. And we're here on an informal basis tonight just to talk a little bit about what we're looking to do. And we'll be back next month with a formal request to have a variance of the zoning to allow us to move down the street for a couple blocks. As you are probably all aware, we have a current facility, a warehousing and distribution facility at 601 East Clements Bridge Road. And we want to relocate down to 801 East Clements Bridge Road, the former wine facility there. It was formerly a lumber yard before that. And we've outgrown our present facility. There's no kind of blocking roads sometimes. And we get some little, we've had to rent 2 off-site facilities to accommodate our needs. So we're hoping to consolidate everything down at 801 East Clements Bridge Road. So we are going through all the necessary steps of planning and zoning and the building committees and everybody along the way to make sure everything's done correctly. Our sister company of ours is actually looking to buy that property and lease it back to us. Both owned by the same family. ABC Supply is owned by a lady by the name of Diane Hendricks, and she owns other companies, including a development company. The development company is going to buy the property and lease it back to us. So we're in the due diligence process right now. We're completing all of the testing and things necessary to verify that everything is clean there to allow us to go forward. The last step in the process is the variance of the zoning because we're in a non-conforming use currently where we're at right now. And as I understand it, if I understand it correctly, that we'd also be in a non-conforming use zoning in the place down the street. So that's where we're here tonight. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to either ask myself or Charlie?
I have a couple of quick questions. What are you going to do with the existing business?
Well, we do not own their current facility. That's actually owned by Brooks, the people that owned the facility before. We bought the business, we didn't buy the real estate. So it's my understanding that they're looking to either sell or release that facility.
Yes, and it's up for sale. And the other question that I had was, do you plan on doing major renovations to the new facility?
Well, we're going to be doing a lot of bringing it up to code. We're going to be doing a lot of electrical work, cleaning up the electrical in the building, cleaning up, modifying the sprinkler system to meet our needs, doing repaving, re-landscaping, redoing some of the front of the building, putting new entrance doors in, redoing some of the fascia on the front of it. Yeah, there's a lot of exterior work, very little interior work actually. We're going to try to remodel the showroom area slightly, but actually just cleaning it up, dialing it up, making it look a lot better, and then bringing it up to code.
Thomas, how do you think that the new property suits you better? What's better about the new property versus the Bobby Brooks' building?
Well, we don't have any parking where we're at right now. There's a lot of parking at the new facility. We're currently in 7,800 square feet, and plus we leased another 2,400 square feet off-site and another outside storage facility. With the new site, there's 26,000 square feet of inside space and some outside space for us there as well. And a lot of additional parking.
Hmm?
Is there room enough to get the tractor trailer completely off Pleasant Street Road when they're making a delivery to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, so that's it. They have the ability at that facility. There are several loading docks along the back, inside the gate area, where they can actually pull in back up the loading docks and load back in the back.
But now the guy has to jack it in, or you can't get up and down that road.
Yeah, no, it's,
Lots of K-turns.
Yes, I would like to say that they are a great company, and I think this will be a benefit to the town, because now the tractor trailers do not have to K-turn and go through this park lot back up, and then stop traffic in both directions. And sometimes their deliveries come early in the morning, sometimes they come late in the afternoon, it all depends. Now, I think with them moving down there, I think it'll be easier and a lot safer for the borough.
I agree.
One of the previous tenants was a Howard Lumber millwork, and they made all the millwork, the windows right there, so I think it's an excellent fit.
Mr. Rowan, under code, what are we up against?
Well, he should make an application for a use variance. You're presently a non-conforming use in a C2 zone?
that's what I was told.
Okay. I would just, as a formality, when you make your application, request a use variance for this location, and site plan, I guess.
Did you say you're changing anything on site?
No, we're leaving the existing curbs in place. We're gonna be doing repaving. We just been core testing and the base is fine, so we're just gonna redo the pavement. Leave the existing curb and gutters where they're at right now, but curb landscaping will be updated a little bit. But most of the concrete will be leaving as is. We'll be adding a handicapped ADA ramp. Part of our company's project is to make all of our facilities ADA compatible, so we'll be adding an ADA ramp to get in the front door, and then changing the bathrooms so that they comply.
Do you intend on having a site plan for us, for
I
a
do.
professional to look at and report back to us within 14 days of our next meeting?
Yes, I'll have everything. I just got the remainder that I need. I asked for the copy of the list of names of the adjacent property owners, and it was sent to the engineering company, not to me. I just got that. I've been on the road for 3 days, so I haven't got it with me. But when I get back to the office, I'll be taking care of that, and I'll be filing the paperwork here probably as early as Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, what we,
Is the applicant going to be a corporation or an LLC? Or is it an individual person that's going to be applying?
Well, the company, it's corporation.
Okay, just remember, in New Jersey, you're required to be represented by an attorney.
I was advised of that.
Yeah. Like, did you and I talk before?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
okay, just know that we like to have everything in minimum of 14 days before the date of our next meeting, so professionals can take a look at it for us and get us all copies of their punch lists, and we have an opportunity to review them before you come back before the board.
Right, I had everything ready to go except for the mailing to the list of the adjacent property owners and the site plan. The surveyor had not returned the actual site plan back to us yet, and it has been received since I've been gone, and I've got the list of names since I've been gone. I'll be back in the office tomorrow, flying back to Wisconsin tomorrow morning, and then I'll be working on it tomorrow afternoon and Friday morning, and then I should be able to get it out in the mail probably on Monday if everything goes right.
Are you within 200 feet of any other municipality?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, because if you did, you would have to, yeah, I don't know if you'd.
He's close, but not.
Okay, that's fine.
I think it's great that you're staying in Runnemede. I think it's great you're looking at that building. And just let everybody else know that the current, the way the building is right now, it does not pay taxes. It pays a payment in lieu of taxes to the borough, so it adds a rateable back to the borough, which is, thank you. And, I think it's a great idea. What exactly is the use variance? Is it non-conforming in what sense?
It's a commercial zone, it's non-conforming, existing non-conforming.
Because
What
it's
type
not
of
listed.
Right.
Yeah, just because it's not listed, yeah. So it's
Not listed,
You can't list everything.
as not approved here, so.
I think it's,
I think it's a good fit, so.
Make the application for the use variance anyway, in case.
Okay.
But,
Any other questions from any other members of the board? Comments?
Okay, thank you very much.
All
I'll
right,
see you all
Tom,
next
thank you for
month.
coming in, pleasure.
I'll see you next month.
Okay, sir, thank you.
so do you see it being used first, then the site plan approval? That we were thinking, just to clarify that it's a use?
I would have to, Yeah,
Oh, but at the
yeah,
same
do it
time?
both at the same time, yeah.
Same meeting.
Yeah.
We'll bifurcate the hearing,
So I'll step out.
yeah, but then you can step back in
Okay,
after
site
the
plan.
use. You two step out for the use variance, then come back for the site plan.
Be quiet.
Yeah. So that's going to be, April meeting. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, next we have Chuck Speck from 171 Pine Avenue. He would like a change of use in existing non-conforming. Come on up, sir.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Chuck Beck.
And your address, please? For the record.
151 High Street, Walnut
Okay, sir.
Hill. I own my neighbor's apartments, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's on the corner of Pine and Davis. I purchased the property back in mid-90s, did a lot of work to the building, put a parking lot in. It's 4 apartments and 1 office, and a little laundry facility on the first floor. I've had the same tenant in the office since I bought the building.
That's the glass front one you're speaking of?
Yes. They unfortunately are kind of out of business because of the economy. I've been trying to rent the property for over a year now. They're still in it, but they need to leave. So I've been trying to rent it. My first consideration was, being that it is in a residential area, it's not really convenient to be commercial. Parking's not really overly convenient for a commercial business to be there. My original thought was to possibly convert it to another apartment. After getting some information from the attorney and from Mr. Knight, I was told that may not be feasible because of its
It's an
grandfathered
expansion of
in.
non-conforming.
Yes. So I do have a couple of potential tenants, and I just wanted to get an opinion on whether or not I should pursue with them or not.
You say you have a couple of prospective tenants. Do you mean commercial tenants or do you mean residential?
Commercial.
Commercial.
Right. Because I don't think, the residential would work. So anyway, I have one tenant who wants to have a therapeutic massage office. They do, massages for doctors, it's prescribed, they're licensed in the state. They tell me that that's a big deal, that they have to be licensed and they have to conform to certain things. And it's very informal right now. I haven't said yes or no or anything to them. I just said, look, I'll ask. It's the best I can do. And then if you say, yeah, there's a possibility, then I can go looking into it further. But that's the one. The other potential one is a cat boarding facility. They want to have an office and board cats. Well, I don't know. It's an office with a board's cats. So I don't know how, I don't know how the board's going to look at it. I don't know exactly.
Well, for sure, neither one of those uses is listed. We all know that.
What kind of office is it now, Chuck?
The surveyor, land surveyor.
What size is it?
Approximately 440
400
feet. Yeah. Now, the parking lot I put in accommodates 2 spaces for each tenant, 2 for each apartment.
So you got 10 spots.
And, yes, and then 2 for there. Now, the parking on Davis was taken away, and there's only limited parking, hours on Pine. So my concern is, just where I'm putting these cars, I don't really want to park them in front of neighbors. I mean, it is a public street, and they can park there, but still, I try to keep the building nice, and I try to keep the neighbors happy too. So, at this point, I'm just trying to get a feel for, I haven't been able to get the perfect, just like the surveyor. He was perfect, but they're few and far between. So I want to, get an opinion and see where we're at.
Well, I don't think we want to, see you run into a hardship. I mean, we're not here to try to be unfriendly about things like that. I think given the situation with the parking, I think one of the biggest things that we're all going to take into consideration is how whatever business goes in there is going to impact the parking. I think that will be, as far as if you come in and ask for a variance. If you don't need a variance, there's nothing we can do about it. But if you have to come in and ask for a variance, then we have the opportunity to say, well, it's not a good place for a doctor's office because you don't have 20 spots. So I think that would be something that would impact our opinion on it.
Just remember with non-conforming uses, the statute and the law is pretty clear in that they don't favor them. And the case law that I'm familiar with, if you had an office in there, Chuck, you could probably use it or continue it for an office that had a similar type of profession as maybe a surveyor. But now if there was going to be retail
You're running a
or
business out there.
sold out of that, that would be an expansion, I think. In other words, if somebody had a pet grooming or, I don't know what a pet sitter does, but I would presume they would try to sell something retail.
They house cats, is what they do. When people go on vacations, they board them.
That would probably be a more intense non-conforming use than an office building.
You're going to have a lot more traffic going in and out there rather than if you just have one. What we're trying to say is if you have, a business going in there, you might have one employee
Right.
and then, something else of that nature, someone coming in dropping off paperwork. But if you're trying to, I don't personally think it's suited to run a business out of.
And I did ask them that, about the traffic. And, what she said is most of the time, it's a week or two that the cats stay. So they come, they drop them off, they only drop off during business hours. They drop the cat off, the cat stays there. And then they come back 2 weeks later, or whenever they get back from vacation or whatever reason, and then they pick the cat up. So they tell me there's not a lot of traffic involved in it, because that's my concern too.
Yeah.
I don't want my other tenants not having parking spaces for people are pulling in the lot,
Right.
and sitting in the lot when now my tenants don't have anywhere to park, now they're on the street.
Because you're going to have at least one employee there at all times. Not
During business
overnight.
hours, right.
Yeah, during business hours.
Yes.
So that's one spot right there.
It's too small to make it another apartment, is that an issue that's?
Well, he could apply, and really, he could apply to expand, because I'm going to presume that that's it's either an R1 or R2.
I think it used to be a laundromat years ago.
Was it?
No, it's a the one side is still a laundromat. Well, not a laundromat, but laundry facilities for the apartment, for the tenants.
But
The other side
45 years ago, that actually neighborhood people were able to come and use it.
When was this?
About 25 years ago.
Okay. I know at one time, the office itself still has a meat locker in it. It was a butcher. That's what it originally was, a butcher and a little convenience store. And then it kind of became, into a laundry facility. Yeah, what was done back in the 20s and 30s, when it was there.
Yeah, a local candy shop or
Right.
kids walk by.
Right.
So making another residential apartment would be an expansion also?
Well, but it would be, you're lessening the impact, because you're going from commercial to residential. So even though it's a non-conforming use, it's not an expansion of the commercial one. It's actually going downhill and bringing it more into conformance with what's there, residential use.
Is there any way to make one of the other units larger? Just take it
It's
outside the
not,
box?
no, because the four are here and then this goes off, it's like laying off to the
I tried
side.
by 1,000 times.
Unless you did away with the laundry, made that. Is that all in the first
Well,
floor?
why would I want to get rid of the laundry to make another unit when I could just make the
It
unit out of that?
benefits his tenants, I think he's saying.
The floor tenants, I mean.
It still benefits them.
No, but I don't understand,
Well,
if I did away with
first
the
of all,
laundry.
well, he's in an R1 zone. So right now, what's his classification? Like his property record card says 4 units plus laundry and,
Is that laundry open to the public?
No, no,
That's just for the use for.
it's one washer and one dryer. It's not a,
Well, Chuck, wasn't your initial interest in converting that unit into a residential?
that was my initial thought because it would lessen the impact on the neighborhood because I have 2 parking spaces. So I have 10 potential spaces, everybody can park in the lot, and it's no impact on the neighbors.
No, I mean, Dave
That was my
Walker
thought.
emailed me, and I think I got back to you a few months ago, and you were first talking about this. And, there's Dave Walker.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We were conversing, if you don't remember, about it online, and, we had talked about it, and we wanted you to come in because I personally think it's better suited for an additional unit, you know, apartment. I think it'll probably be better for you too.
I believe you were speaking to Dave about that. I talked to Dave,
Yeah, maybe-
Dave is a friend
maybe,
of mine,
yeah.
and we talked about it.
That could be.
And then he said he was gonna talk to you.
Yeah, I talked
And then
to
I
Mr. Knight.
also had an inspection, and I saw
Yep.
Keith,
Yeah.
and then Keith, I
Well,
said something to Keith.
You came, and that's all that counts, is you came in. That's
Right,
what we wanted to
so-
do.
Is 440 square feet big enough? Does their ordinance specify how big a one-bedroom apartment has to be?
It would have to be an
You
efficient.
don't think it does?
Yeah, you can make it.
It would be a one-bedroom
That's
house,
the state.
or a 50, yeah.
440.
Would have to conform to the state code because it's a
Right.
multi-family dwelling. It is
Well,
now.
it goes over 5
The
units.
kitchenette, 3 bathroom.
No,
Is there?
oh, 3 or more. He's
Three or
already,
more.
Oh, okay.
he's already
It's
under
3 or
the
more.
state.
I thought it was-
Yeah.
Yeah, the state already
He's
inspects the
already-
building.
All right.
So we would have to conform to the state regulation for multi-family.
You have fire alarms and all that in the building?
And the unit has a bathroom, it just doesn't have a kitchen, it has to add a kitchen to it. But
Could you
other
make
than-
that work with the floor space you have?
Oh,
I mean, I think it's more in concert with the rest of the neighborhood. I think when you go to notify people for a use variance, you know, yeah, you're gonna get a whole lot of people putting their hand up saying, I don't think I want a cat farm here.
And I don't even know if I want one there, but
Yeah.
it was the only person to call, and then this other one called about the size, so.
And I don't, yeah.
Two tough ones.
And I can't imagine you're going to get anybody that's going to object to just another resident being there. I think it's going to be an easier walk, no matter how you cut the gate, with us and with the residents.
Okay.
And then you're eliminating the commercial use, which is more of an.
And that's done. Then we get rid of that forever.
Right, that's kind of what I thought, that
Forever.
it's residential, at least it's residential, it might be multifamily, but at least it's residential in a residential area.
We don't want commercial back there, to be honest. I mean, I don't. I'm one person, but I'm just saying, that was then and this is now.
Right.
And I think that property is much better suited for just keeping it all residential. And that way we get rid of that old grandfathered in commercial piece of that unit, and then that's over and done with.
And I do try to keep the building up, you know.
I suggested you apply for use variance.
Well, Mr.
Well, you
Rowan,
have to apply for an expansion of
Of a
a non-conforming residential use.
right,
So it's an expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's got, the triplex there is a non-conforming use.
more understandable.
Pre-existing.
Or, yeah, now he wants a fourplex.
Now we
No,
have.
it is a four, it is a four, it'd be a
Fourplex one's
five,
making the
Oh,
five.
okay, all right.
that changes.
Yeah, you've got to prove that there's a hardship. Your hardship is that.
You can only get cats to regulate.
Well, what else can you use it?
What else can I use it for? And I'm trying to remove the commercial use, which is bringing down the
impact.
intensity of the use. So it's like a trade-off, you know, and.
That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I thought.
So you come in for a use variance, would there be any site work, or is it just a permit, or?
He should have a show where he's. Parking, does he need any more off-street parking?
No, not at all. It has 10 spots in the parking lot. There's nowhere, I can't change it, I can't add it, there's no more
You're not
room.
gonna add on to the outside of the building.
Right.
Same
Exactly.
footprint,
Yeah.
same footprint, you're just gonna change the interior from a storefront to a efficiency.
Exactly.
Pretty simple.
current survey of the site?
I probably have one from 1995 when I bought it. I don't have anything.
It hasn't changed.
No.
The only thing you
Enough.
can look at is there's sufficient parking for the number of
Okay,
residents.
just bring the survey with you, and have it certified and everything.
Isn't there a restriction on the square footage requirement for a dwelling, for another apartment?
You mean minimum square footage?
Maybe, I'm saying, you know, I think you ought to know what the square footage requirements are. Pretty much.
I think that's a-
You would have to
Sure,
go to the state.
you have to comply with the Department of Community Affairs that governs multi.
I'm saying that's a caveat that we haven't mentioned so far.
Oh, yeah, and that, if any approval was granted, it would be contingent upon any other agency approval.
Is it a full bathroom?
Right now, no. I mean, there's plenty of room because it's a handicap bathroom.
Right, okay.
So there's plenty of room to put a shower in it. But,
Well, I think you want that.
oh, no, absolutely. No, but that's what I'm saying, you know, I don't even have to change that.
Cats don't take
Because it's so
showers.
big,
You can fit
I can just put a shower right there. you know.
Cats take baths.
I think before long, it's become a cat.
Yeah.
Grooming parlor and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I honestly don't know, and like I
So to
said,
speak.
Yeah,
I
I
would
think,
prefer not to, but.
yes,
We got our feel.
I think you got a much smoother ride.
You apply for an expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming residential use.
Okay. Or overall.
Or better call me.
And again, you gotta have it in 14 days before our next meeting. We don't take anything after that deadline. So if you wanna get this in for the April meeting, you have to contact June, and she'll contact me, and we'll make sure we have room on the agenda for you, okay? But you just gotta have all your ducks in line within 14 days. If you're gonna come in and ask for an expansion on non-conforming use variance, you know,
And I see June to get all the paperwork I need to do this, or who do I see?
Clerk's office.
Borough clerk.
purpose,
Just go to the borough?
Joyce Pinto.
Okay, and I'm sorry, one more time, but like, the nine,
A use variance to expand a pre-existing non-conforming residential use.
okay,
I wrote that down in case you forget.
good, thank you. You know me.
Okay, notify everyone within 200 feet.
Okay, so if I can't get this done before the next meeting, it'll just be the next meeting, right?
No rush on our part.
Okay,
I
okay.
just want you to know it has to be in 14 days prior, okay?
Okay.
All right, Chuck, thank you very much. Any other questions from the board?
Later.
Very good.
Thank you very
Good night,
much.
Chuck, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, our final informal this evening is informal for Dawn Aker, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Then I'm going to do them last.
I didn't skip one of mine, though.
No.
Okay, hi Dawn, how are you? Hello. That's fine, we'll add it, David, it wasn't on mine, we'll add it.
Should I talk now?
Yes, please, how are you this evening?
Hello, I've never really been to one of these, so I really don't know how they work, but, I put an offer in on 11 Railroad.
Okay,
It was listed as a duplex.
Yep.
I wanted to live in one unit, rent out the other one.
I'm sorry,
I wanted to live in one of the units,
Yes.
rent out the other one,
yes,
and then I found out it's a single family,
yes.
so I don't know what to do now.
Well, I'm assuming you got my email asking you to bring a copy of the existing, you had said that you thought there was an existing variance.
It wasn't a variance. I had spoke to June, there was no variances. He said it was a non-conforming a while ago, but since they hadn't rented it in a very long time, the house was actually foreclosed. It's no longer, I guess, grandfathered in as a duplex. I don't know how that works.
See, the key would be if there was, Dawn, if there had been a variance
Right.
granted. Because variances run with the grant. Even if you can't abandon a variance unless it's in the variance itself or it's by ordinance. If there wasn't a variance, then this was a pre-existing non-conforming use, the duplex. But if they abandoned the duplex for more than 6 months, then that non-conforming use is extinguished. Means that it's not there anymore.
That's what Keith had said.
Non-conforming uses run with the ground also, but there can be a variance, there is no abandonment, it's always with the ground.
Now, the home is set up as a two-family, couldn't be more of a two-family. There's tons of parking, 2 kitchens, 2 bathrooms, it's 2,100 square feet.
Right.
There's separate electric, I mean,
Separate entrance.
separate entrances, everything is separate.
Do you know when the last time they rented it?
It's foreclosed. I purchased, it actually needs a lot of work.
Excuse me, is that the house on the corner of Second and Railroad Avenue?
Yes. It's a mess. It needs like $40,000 to $50,000 worth of work too.
Yeah.
Mickey
What I'm
Kroger's,
thinking about?
Yeah, it's along the Little Railroad, the, on the
Community
property
VFW.
tax record indicates it is a duplex. The last certificate of occupancy we have on file is from the year 2000. To my knowledge, since I've been dealing with the property prior to it being vacated, since it was a property maintenance issue, it was, they did not have a valid certificate of occupancy for the second floor for a rental. So again, going back to what Mr. Ryan said, it was an abandonment. It appears to maybe for at least 15 years legally abandoned.
Well, Mr. Rowan,
It
does not
hasn't
follow
been used for, hasn't been used
As a duplex.
So, well, what did the family do? Just use 2 kitchens or?
Well, they occupied it, both levels, with, I would say, the
There
latest
is-
family
In
members.
the statute, in case law, even on a non-conforming use, there has to be an abandonment, but an intent to abandon. I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody had a non-conforming use duplex, but they didn't rent it for a year, but it always stayed a separate unit. That's not abandonment. There has to be an intent to abandon. So I don't know if this remained and wasn't combined into a one-family property, there may have not have been an abandonment.
Is anything closed off? Is
Nothing.
anything physically closed off to make it?
I brought
single?
pictures, I
Yeah.
took pictures, I brought the listing, if anybody wants to see it.
Let's be clear though, if we've got a property, you've already purchased it.
No.
I made an offer,
No.
I don't want to get out of attorney review, and then, because I'm planning on living in one of the units and then renting the other one.
So when the prudent way to do exactly what you're saying, get the variance, contingent on getting a variance, and then the variance stays with that property forever, and then we never have to worry about this again because it's not a legitimate duplex?
He granted a variance, and then it runs with the grant.
And a question that Dawn had earlier in the week, and I forwarded it to Mr. Rowan, just for your edification, the rest of the board, was that if she were to come in next month, say, and apply for a variance, does she need to be the owner of the property to apply for that variance? And I will defer to Dave, then if the answer is no, but if you have any
She
questions,
just needs the consent of the owner.
okay, so she is allowed to do that, and that was a valid question. Is she allowed to come in and ask for a variance on a property she does not own? And the answer to that question is yes.
The bank is not going to do that. I've already spoke with the agents, so it pretty much would need to be mine. So that's the problem. I don't want it to be mine and then
They're not
find
going to
out.
consent to you asking for a variance?
They don't want to deal with anything. When it's
They don't have to do
foreclosed,
anything.
They don't want to be.
when it's foreclosed, they want nothing to do with permits. If there's permits that need to be pulled for the house, I have no idea. It's all on me. And that was another question I had. I just kind of want to know up front if I want to get out of this or not, because I want to do it legally. I don't want to be renting it out, and not have it legal.
We want you to fix it up, so.
But I also want to know the cost that's going to go into it, because like I said, I already have to put $40,000 to $50,000 into the house. And then if I have to do floor plans, and I'm not changing either of the apartments, they're going to stay the way that they are. But how much would it cost for me to do
We're not here to
variance?
micromanage what you do inside your own home.
Oh, no, I just don't know if I would need the floor plans and all that stuff to even apply for a variance. Like, what's the cost to do a variance, I guess is what
Well,
I'm
there's
asking.
certain rate fees. I think I told you to call Joyce to get a current. When I have a current fee schedule now that may or may not be in place when you apply, that's something you get from the Borough Clerk's office.
It's on the.
No, but it's not tens of thousands of dollars or anything like that. You know what I mean? There's a certain, yeah, David, I'm sorry.
I don't think she needs it. My own personal feeling is, I don't care how long it's been vacant, as long as the use hasn't been altered to make it so that they converted it to a single family, now they want to convert it back.
And I agree with you, but that's right, we need testimony or pictures to show that hasn't
Or
been
he
done.
goes, or he can
Yeah.
attest to it, he goes out and looks at it,
If it stayed distinct 2 units, even though it wasn't rented, it
Correct.
doesn't mean it's abandoned. But if it was a duplex and non-conforming, and they took out a kitchen, or now they opened it up, closed off it, now
Right, that's
there's intent to abandon.
But she don't have that.
Yeah.
Well,
You're saying that the CO was never issued for the second floor?
from 2000, yes.
Yeah, but hold on for a minute,
Well,
if the CO was never given, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you say that they're being taxed on a duplex?
That's what's on the card.
Yeah, it's always been up and down.
Is duplex. But the question is, and maybe Chief, you can answer, and Dave, if they were occupying both floors and utilizing it as a single family, is that considered abandonment?
Can I-
don't think it was.
Can I say something? I also,
It was stay two separate units.
Even though it was single family? The
Yeah,
same
I-
family was
Well,
occupied?
I mean, they could have used one unit and not rented the other. They wouldn't have used, renting it itself or occupying it isn't the criteria. It's the intent to abandon.
But, excuse me, my whole point is that, if the property is being taxed as a duplex, so no one ever changed it to a single-family home. So, what is the abandonment? Because I don't
Yeah,
understand.
well, that's what she.
So basically, to
There was
me,
no abandonment.
if somebody walked in and said, I'm going to change it from a duplex to a single-family home to get a lesser tax, I would consider that as abandonment. But since that is, in the forms that he has, Mr. Knight,
Right.
it still says duplex, and they're being taxed on duplex, then what is the abandonment?
Yeah, there wouldn't be an abandonment.
Exactly.
Do you need a vote from us, or what do you want?
Yeah, I mean,
May-
as long as it stays.
may I also say one other thing?
It was presented to me that there was a variance.
The house is abandoned, I know that.
Yeah, but you don't have to occupy it. If it's unoccupied, it's not abandoned. As long as you didn't, if the two units are still there, whether they use one unit or they use, one family use both units, there's no abandonment.
Let's take a peek at the pictures. Hang on.
I did want to say something. Not everybody's honest, and I do feel, and I came across this renting once, that a lot of landlords don't, whenever they change tenants, they don't get people at the borough in to inspect it, to give them the CO. It doesn't mean they weren't renting those units, they just maybe weren't telling you about the fact that they were renting the units because they didn't want to pay the $75 to have someone come out and check it. If their windows are closing properly or whatever the case is,
Do we see the pictures, Dawn?
Yeah.
Please?
She'd have to bring it up.
Can you tell us the reason that the CO was, put out, was it 2000, year 2000?
Well, I was looking for the file. I was dealing with the property owner at the time. And they did not, as I say, have a valid CO for second floor. They indicated the family members.
They just didn't have it.
They just didn't have it, because they weren't utilizing it as a duplex. So, what I'm saying, as far as our records, and go back 2000, we were looking into it, doesn't appear, don't know whether this time it was rented for 2000, that we lost it.
It wasn't that they applied, it just failed because it.
Right, there was no, to my knowledge, there was no application. That was the issue that I had. Who was living on the second floor?
Because the board can make an interpretation.
I stayed on premises.
Okay. Can I make a motion for an interpretation?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna make a motion for the top. I'm gonna make a motion.
Does anybody else, just so you guys know here, I had asked Dawn to, you can sit down, thank you very much, I can back you. I had asked Dawn to please bring in some pictures for edification, and which she did. These pictures are depicting that she has two separate kitchens, okay? I take her at her word, that she has two separate electrical meters. We have two separate entrances. I have a copy of the listing from Remax. The design is listed as a duplex. It's, unit number 1 is 3-bedroom with 2 full baths. Unit number 2 is 3-bedroom with 1 full bath. It pretty much appears to me that we don't need to take really any action on this unless Mr. Rowan thinks we should have to take any action.
I got one question. Do you know how many CCMUA bills they pay?
What is it?
Your county sewer? You know how many they pay at that property?
I have no idea.
If they pay two, then they're recognizing it as a duplex.
Yeah, no clue.
If they're only paying one, though, once we recognize, you're gonna get a double bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But now, remember, the other unit, you've gotta get a CO to rent that out.
And every time the tenants change, I have to
If
get
that's the
someone.
ordinance, yeah.
It's all right.
For each unit.
Right.
Yes.
But if the
Well,
board
I'm-
can be polled, that they don't believe, if the board wants to poll and that they don't believe there was an abandonment,
If you think we should poll, that's fine, or just no action needed, you know, whatever. I'll make, well, I'll put it on the floor that we make a motion, there was no abandonment.
I make a motion with no
All right, Mr. Ockley, seconded by Mrs. Gushen. Have a roll call, please, June. A yes vote means there was no abandonment.
yeah, they.
Oppenheimer,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Bushian. Yes. Chastity,
Yes.
Fullerton.
Yes.
Walperly,
Yes.
Chief Daly,
Yes.
Mayor Kapadas.
Yes. Thank you, Assistant Principal.
Assistant DA.
Mr. Ranieri.
Yes.
Tony.
Is there anything else?
So I can purchase the property
Yeah.
and not have to worry about
We wish you all the luck in the world, really.
You know what? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There you go, Don.
Thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
No, good luck with that, that's great.
Yeah, best of luck. Good luck.
Thanks.
Take care now.
So I have to come back, I just have to roll when I'm ready to get checked in.
You just have to get your
Construction.
COs
You're
and
gonna,
fire certs.
you're gonna be friends with Mr. Light.
Yes.
Okay.
He's your new BFF,
Yes.
Thank you.
and he gives good advice. Okay, and I have, understand.
Wouldn't pay.
They're all possible.
We should send you letters.
All right, next informal, we have Verizon Wireless here. This is a second visit regarding a small antenna. Just for anyone that wasn't here, they had brought this before us last meeting, but Mr. Pettit was not in attendance for that meeting. And
I wasn't here.
no, I know that. But Mr. Pettit is the one that we had referred your company to contact, and when Mr. Pettit wasn't comfortable making the decision, he referred you back here, so that's why you're back here.
That's great. Warren Stillwell from the firm Cooper Levinson for Verizon Wireless, and I have with me a site acquisition specialist who has been working on acquiring the site, Mr. Crispasso, and also an engineer who drew plans for the site, Mr. Steve Mastero. If you have any questions with respect to the engineering aspects of this. This is a proposal to put one antenna on the facade of the wall.
Hang on, pardon me one second, sir. Okay, John.
This is an informal.
Correct.
There's nothing.
There's no testimony,
So,
just an informal.
I'm not going to be swearing anybody in. I guess your question is whether you have to, if it can be done by administrative,
Right.
really, or?
Right. And the,
You get that?
I believe they're looking to attach an antenna to the side of a building, and they asked us to take a look at it and asked if it can be approved administratively. We looked at the zoning and we said, we don't believe that we have the authority to say to the town, yeah, that can be approved administratively, we need to talk to the board.
Right.
So I think the question is, does the board believe that
Are we
this
okay?
requires approval?
Right.
Or can it be approved administratively, what they're looking to do with it?
Everybody understand that? We can, kind of like what we did with Wendy Gardner's place, she had a very small change. Instead of making her come back in and do a dog and pony show, we just did it administratively. So, we're trying to do.
it's the sum total of what we're proposing, and I'm looking at a lease exhibit that I can pass around, but it's one 2-foot antenna attached to the wall of the existing Verizon building at 303 Black Horse Pike. And the height of the antenna will be below the top of the building, so it won't increase the height of the building. And then a small equipment cab and a piece of equipment also attached to the wall of the building. And the two are connected with a cable, as you would normally do with an antenna. This is a picture of the facade of the building where we're proposing to locate it. The antenna would be going here, and the equipment that's depicted on the plan would be going here.
And that's essentially it, if you guys would like to see this. You have the plans,
It's not, the antenna's not going above the top of the building, correct?
correct.
What benefit will this antenna give
No, it
you?
goes above the building, isn't it, Chris?
Pardon?
It goes above the roof line a little bit.
No.
No,
I
it's just-
think it's just an update.
The plan says that the GPS antenna is above the
The GPS antenna is a small hockey puck sized antenna. It doesn't, all it does is it receives a signal from the satellite, GPS satellite, so it can coordinate the timing on the signals of the.
For artillery.
It's just a timing, it's literally the size of a hockey puck. Verizon.
If I can interject a little bit.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this at the last meeting.
Yes.
And at the last meeting, I said that everybody here can go outside the police department. You'll see almost a similar antenna attached side of the police department. Very, about
2 feet tall.
3 foot tall.
2 foot
They're
tall.
attached to the building.
Nice low profile.
Yeah, if you want to go look outside the building, the police department, that's the way it is.
With no federal right required for that?
No, we're licensed and we're not doing anything that the FAA would be interested in, so.
What did you get? It's just for internal?
I hear
use for your-
antenna, I think so.
To monitor your trucks or?
It's just, GPS is just to coordinate this site with all of the other sites. They all work off, they sync up by the use of the GPS.
I think the concern is maybe the council could maybe look at our land use, just update our ordinance about antennas, because obviously you're only putting one up, but of course the fear might be you're going to put 50 on one building and things like that, stuff like that. In my business, I make these electronic message board signs. We put antennas on the buildings all the time. One on the sign, one on the building to receive the information. I don't think it's a big deal. I understand why the engineer sees it's not part of our land use approval. I don't see a problem with it. I think it could be more done at a council level, where council looks at it. Maybe we amend our ordinances to at least regulate it somewhat, you know.
Does this array generate any electromagnetic fields or anything like that?
They operate at about 5 watts per channel. There's usually 2 channels, so we're talking about 10 watts, which is a lot less than those light bulbs up there. It's less than a baby monitor.
Anybody else have any questions for this applicant?
One question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason it's on the street side of the building, not on the parking lot side?
I can speak to that.
This is Mr. Basso, who's not, as you
Good
said.
evening, everybody.
Hello, Mr. Bassett.
Good evening. The reason that it's on the front of the building is that we want to provide a limited amount of coverage for the pipe. Essentially, these devices are called small cells, and the small cells are really designed to offload from the macro sites, these large sites that you're typically familiar with, that have multiple antennas and huge, radio cabinet buildings and that sort of thing. And we're just, what this will do is will provide the right amount of offload for the larger sites to eliminate us having to go forward with these bigger sites. If we can use these judiciously, we can cover small areas with very small equipment.
So are you basically saying that you intend to put these in a lot more locations?
Look, this is what Verizon's doing right now, and I think this might be a way that the business is going in general. I mean, all wireless carriers are interested in, because from your perspective, I think it's probably a lot nicer to see a small cabinet and one antenna than application after application for, 50-foot or 100-foot monopole or some large array every,
Our pole's gonna fall down pretty soon. It has so many antennas on over there.
I have nothing to say, I'm sorry.
They get a big bang for the buck out of these things. It helps all the surrounding microcells that have antennas that point to this area. It helps download the traffic, and that makes each of them more efficient.
So I understand that, but I think the question was, why couldn't it be?
Rear. That's because you need to point to the pike.
Correct, we want to cover a section of the pike and those people that are either frequenting the stores, because one of the main objectives of the small cell is to offload data. from Verizon's perspective, people are downloading coupons, they're downloading ebooks and these sorts of things. These are big stresses on macro sites, the large sites. Doing things like this helps.
So you're saying it'll affect the way this operates if it's put on the rear of the building?
Would be essentially useless.
Oh, okay.
So what's the range of this, what's the range of the antenna?
I can't say that
I mean,
specifically.
if you're saying
but
that you put it on the rear of the building and it makes it useless, you're gonna have these mid-block all the way down the line.
It's got
I'm
this,
missing something.
yeah, it's got this specific, proposed use. The radius is about 1,000 feet. So, the area that it covers is about 1,000 to 1,500 feet. And you think, well, why would you even bother? Well, you bother because they have data that shows that the other sites around this area that serve this area have capacity issues. So they're having trouble servicing everybody. And so they pick these spots where they put these things very carefully, so that if you're allowed to operate one, it'll help all of the sites that are around it.
This is kind of outside the box of what you're saying, but this kind of goes to what Mayor Kapados was speaking of. Would it be your future intention, are you fellows in communications going to want to knock on the doors of, say, American Appliance and say, can we rent a spot on the side of your building for one of our small antennas? Down the street, Philly Sports Park, we rent a spot on the side of your building for one of our antennas? Is that where this is going? Is where it's trending? It sounds like it's only going to affect a very small area, and it stands to reason in my mind that if you're trying to go to this, that, obviously you know better than myself, people have cellular antennas on their private properties. Is that where this is going? You're going to be asking other businesses in town not to put the antenna on their property?
I would say that as Warren said, the use is definitely targeted. I would say that it's hard to know, and I've been in this business for 20 years, what the client is sort of thinking, what their objectives are. I do know that as it pertains to small cells, they are generally, the general location is, if I look at all the ones I'm doing for them, is shopping centers in areas where there is foot traffic and there's, small.
That's what I'm saying, Philly Sports Park, at some point in time, might have 300 people there, so is that something where you're going to be looking to expand?
Just to give an example, and it's a crude diagram, but let's just say this circle here is where we're proposing to put the small cell on the Verizon building. And over here, maybe half a mile to a mile away is a cell site. And one of the sectors of that site, one of the arrays of antennas points in this direction. Over here is another cell site, maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles away. It also has a sector that points in here.
Are they all line of sight?
Yes. And same thing with down here, there's a sector that points in this direction. And each of these sectors is experiencing traffic capacity issues because of the amount of data that's being downloaded and those kinds of things. So if we put this one little site here, it's going to relieve the capacity issues of these three. Now these three cell sites will be able to now service the customers who are closer to them more efficiently, provide more capacity to each of these. So we won't need another one here and here and here.
So basically what you're saying is it's going to speed everything up.
And in this wider area, but we're not going to need another one here and here and here and over here and over here and over here.
Would this be the only one you would need in Runnemede?
Well, if you look at the way a crow flies, as he says, 1,000 feet. You look up between, from pole to pole, approximately 100 feet.
Right.
Telephone to 500 feet. Now, if you look at from where a building is, and you go, it'll probably take you by Kid Rips, almost to the border of Runnemede, south side, and northbound lies probably a little past the Higher Wings building. If you look, that's 1,000 feet north and south. And then you would go in the other direction, it would probably take you to Hill Avenue, and probably would take you close to Volt School. So the 1,000 feet the way the crow flies, that's probably it. So basically, in a town like Runnemede, it's a small area. A town like Gloucester Township, which is so large, it would be different.
Chief, could I interrupt for a second? Your diagram shows that it would have line of sight in 3 different directions, but you just spoke to say that the antenna does not break the roof line. And if it was on the other side of the building, it would not work. So how does it triangulate if it's only on one side of the building and it doesn't break the roof line?
Because it's downloading the traffic that's going by this whole area that it does see. And you know how the traffic gets on the Black Horse Pike. It's all across.
Well, I'm starting to get concerned all of a sudden now. I am getting concerned, because it's not making any sense to me all of a sudden. You know, the reason you came in front of us is because our ordinance does not permit this tower, correct?
It's just a small, it's just a 2-foot antenna is all it is. It really gets back to that.
And your signal doesn't go.
But if, Dave, if we allow this, does this then open the door for them to put them anywhere?
Well, that's what John questioned, yeah, I mean, I guess it could if now they need one at other areas. I just thought this was one antenna to service this building, or their building, right?
I mean, you gotta remember, most municipalities are behind the curve here with keeping up with technology. Our ordinance, as we all know, in this town is way behind on so many things.
Why don't we amend them as we go along?
Well, how do we deal with this
What do
application?
you deal with it? You say, if he says.
Well, then why don't we make them come in front and get an approval, so then we haven't set a precedent for 500 of these going up on every house. I'm sorry to say that, I didn't really want to do that at first, but now the way you're explaining it to me differently, like I said, I'm sorry, I thought it was breaking the rule.
I thought it was explained we wouldn't need them on every house.
But you're not being, it's not exactly true, though, we don't know that at this point. If it's only 1,000 feet, you may need to put them, they might need to go up all over the place.
But, Mr. Rowan, if we do this administratively, it doesn't give them, you know, it doesn't give them approval for any more than the one we're doing administratively.
Well, no, sometimes it's like our
I
interpretation.
just wanted to make an argument, yeah, that well, we didn't need it for here, you know, why you're gonna make us do an application for this location? That's the only thing I guess I would be concerned.
Yeah.
We're asking, are you gonna put another one up, and you stutter, and, well, no, maybe, could be.
Because I'm not gonna stand here.
Oh, I understand.
Oh, we respect that, we respect
Oh, I
the kids.
understand that, but that concerns us,
Well, I can
maybe
tell
one
you,
could do it for sports.
I can
board.
tell
Right.
you-
Right.
So
Right.
it's approved.
It's not
Let me ask you a question, can we make this a case-by-case basis?
Right.
Are you gonna
If it's
approve
abandoned,
one?
it would have to come in front of us a full application. This is almost like an interpretation. When we make interpretations, they become the law. What Keith has said to us on many occasions is, our ordinance is silent. We come in front of here informally, we make an interpretation. Once we made that interpretation, he moves forward with that forever. The difference between the planning board and the council is when the council passes an ordinance, we can amend it. Once the planning board makes a decision like this, it kind of moves forward and it's done. So that's, if this was specific only to this application, I have no problem with you putting it on this building.
Right.
I have a problem all of a sudden it might go to other
Right.
places.
just so everybody knows, I mean, the whole reason I asked for administrative approval is not just the de minimis nature of what we're proposing, but because New Jersey's got a co-location statute. It's NJSA 40:55 D-46.2. And it essentially says that if you can co-locate consistent with the requirements of that statute, then no site plan would be required. And I think that you would permit this use in this zone. I don't think I'd need a use variance in front of the zoning board, but at most, I think I'd need a site plan. So we've got this New Jersey statute that says if you qualify, then you don't need a site plan. And that's why I was asking for an administrative approval. Now, whether or not we qualify and meet all the conditions of the New Jersey co-location statute is something that you'd be looking to your attorney, and I'm not being on the spot here, or Mr. Knight. But it does exist, and maybe you could agree that if they read it and agree that we satisfy the conditions, then we would need to appear. And if they believe that we don't meet the conditions, or they don't want to make that decision, then we'll make the application.
That's fair? Yes,
Chairman, I don't think that the question has anything to do with the site plan. I don't think anyone's looking for these guys to come in with a site plan and put an intent on the building. I think it's more the use, whether or not the board's comfortable with the use. And what Dave and I were discussing was, if you say administratively, or this doesn't need an approval, then these things can pop up all over the place.
We can't have that.
I'm saying that's gonna happen. Now, you're saying this is co-location, or is this antenna gonna service any other carriers?
No.
Okay, so now you're talking about T-Mobile, Sprint, the other carriers, are they gonna come in and do the same thing? That's the only thing you gotta think about when you're considering application for the informal, list before you.
I just think that we have to somehow keep it to where we're gonna have a say in what these things are.
So maybe
Not
it's not a site
specifically
plan.
you, but.
It's a use
any-
application. It's a use variance. Would you be opposed to just doing a use variance for this particular location, and this board would decide if it's allowed? I think the board would allow it at that location.
Yeah, I think.
But it limits it only to your building.
I think that's very fair.
Acquisition will always be a problem for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't have, not everybody has a
Because
business in the
Businesses
township.
don't last forever, and you got an intent on the building, all of a sudden, all posted, you know.
Unless you're thinking of running some of your space to some of the other carriers, which I don't think is gonna happen, right?
No, they wouldn't go further than that.
Yeah, so I think we'd all be much more comfortable, Keith especially, because he's the guy on the street that has to, that mandates what can and can't happen on a day-to-day basis. He's our eyes and ears out there. I think we'd all be more comfortable if you guys did come in for the use variance. I don't hear anybody up here screaming, that's a terrible idea.
No, but in terms of what I need, do I need a use variance?
It's not permitted.
I think it is to have a separate wireless ordinance. And I think, under the terms of the ordinance, it is permitted as a conditional use. So it'd be a conditional use and site plan application, but it'd be in front of you as the planning board, not a use variance.
Well, here we are back to the whole thing of informals and not having 14 days to give you an opportunity to review it. No, I'm just, this is respect to Mr. Rowan. Do you feel more comfortable? Do you want to review this? And
I'd have to review it, because
Obviously.
I really didn't know what the antenna was for.
No,
I mean,
that's just-
I didn't, I was picturing a small antenna on a building, I didn't know what it was for.
okay, so are we comfortable with?
I mean, what they're proposing, I mean, the state says, yeah, that certain uses are beneficial uses. Towns, you gotta give it to them, you gotta make provisions for them, but, I don't know.
I agree. This is one of the problems with the informals. Had you come in with an application, we would probably approve it right now and be done with it.
Well, we would have had 2 weeks to go over it, and you would have had a chance to review it. We would have it in front of us, but as it is now, we're standing here, and he's reciting an ordinance, which I'm sure is 100% accurate, but we have not had time to look at it ourselves, nor as professionals.
You know they're always subject to interpretation, so you might read it differently than me, but I'm just saying. And I'm gonna read it as an advocate anyway.
Sure. Don't blame me there.
Okay. So we're gonna let your guys look at it and tell us and tell you what they think we
We'll
should do.
get back here.
And then,
This is not in the SED zone, correct?
That is correct.
So the ordinance says that it's the intention of the borough of Runnemede to locate necessary towers within the SED
Right,
zone
but we're not a town.
for the borough of Runnemede. So
Not now.
since you're not listed as what you are, then
I think we just need to give Mr. Rowan time to.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a copy, because that's not in our book.
It's here.
No, it's-
Oh, you have it?
It's an order.
It's in your ordinance, the numbers, it's not there.
Oh,
It's a different section.
okay.
It's a standalone, it's a standalone.
All right, yeah.
But we'll get back to you, via our secretary, we'll get back to
Talk to
you.
John, and then,
And if we decide that we can do it administratively, I don't think we'll need to have all you folks come back here. I don't. David, do you?
That's
Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying, Dave?
And I'll talk to John about it.
Yeah, but if you and John agree and we agree, then I don't think we need to have these folks dragged back in here. Okay, thank you, guys.
Good evening, thank you.
Good evening. Okay, guys, let's get through a couple things here. We have, we'll kind of combine my report with old business, because my report is old business. Last meeting, we had two things that we are wanting to move forward on and I want to get these nailed down tonight if possible. The first and foremost, is what just transpired here, is getting the fee set for informals to come in, and we're going to get this in concrete so that June doesn't have to put someone on an agenda that has not given us anything as far as what their intentions are for us to review. And Mr. Rowan and Mr. Pettit are not put on the spot trying to interpret something that they don't have at their fingertips. So, David, did you bring a copy of what you drafted last time so you can read it for everyone?
Yeah, that was, I had to give the last meeting, it was the same conceptual informal review request. And let me go over it again. I think John wasn't here the last
Right.
time, and the board was discussing what escrows or what fees should be used when an informal review or conceptual request is made. But a prospective applicant or other interested party may, upon the payment of the designated fee, including escrows for professional review and submission of a conceptual/informal review request application, request the planning and zoning board to make an informal, non-binding review of a proposed project or use of a site situated in any designated zoning district. The planning and zoning board may, after review of the proposed project or use, make certain comments and/or recommendations which may assist the prospective applicant or other interested party in making a determination as to the viability of a proposed project or a use in the designated zoning district. All requests for a review shall be made by submitting 14 copies of the application form as may be prescribed, which shall be submitted along with the prescribed fees 14 days before the matter is scheduled for review. Any comment or recommendations of the planning zoning board, zoning district are intended to be used by a prospective applicant or interested party in determining whether or not a formal application will be made and are not to be construed as a pre-approval or denial of any application thereafter made. This was, I think, the last time the board discussed, what would be appropriate fee, application fee, and what would be appropriate professional fees. You didn't want to make a decision.
Without John
so
here.
John,
Right.
Make what he felt was appropriate.
So, John, you're up.
It is important that we have this because we do get these informals, and we really,
This whole thing, just here with Verizon,
John and I, we get we talked about
Right.
Dawn's thing
Right.
about 10
That's
days
me and you,
ago.
that's not
Yeah, but
everyone.
the other ones, I didn't, really
Yeah.
understand what they're.
Everyone
what
needs
they're
to be,
looking for.
everyone needs to be notified and have it in front of them, so if they have any questions, they can ask them. If they have any, concerns, they can visit the site. I mean, this nonsense of people walking up and nothing against anyone out there tonight, but, we don't have what we need.
Did we have a set fee at this point? Because that can be just.
No, that was,
No.
While we were discussing that, Nick, if you remember, we discussed we haven't revised our fees.
That's next.
For years and years.
Well, I asked Joyce to give us the fees. Our fees that are in our ordinance and the fees that we charge are somewhat not blended together well. We will resolve that.
And I made copies.
I don't mean to dance around that, but.
I made copies of existing fees for Summerdale and for Gloucester Township. If you can pass them out, you can take a look. I'm sure they're higher than ours, but.
What should the escrow be? I mean, I'm assuming the borough doesn't need making money on this application, maybe a $50 fee for us just to pay for our cost of copies and things like that. But obviously, your time and our solicitor's
Right.
time, what do you think for a minimum time for you guys to look at something? That's what I want. I can't stand coming in here, and you guys don't have the time to say, in the ordinance, it says this. I mean, can you say an hour per application for a workshop?
If it's an hour, it's $150.
So $150 escrow? And would you say $150?
Yeah, that would be fine.
So we should make it $400 total?
Well, it would be A fee, so you're saying the fee would just go to the $300 would just
No,
go?
we can- No, we can't do it, it would be an escrow.
So it would be an escrow, you would bill towards the
And
escrow.
then we would bill the borough for our time looking at that informal request. Now, the only thing we could do, it would be like tonight, say when the lady with the duplex is advising her what she can do or what, or like I said, about abandonment, what
Right.
constitutes abandonment, then the board.
That just saved her a ton of money.
Yeah.
What we did tonight saved her a ton of money and a ton of aggravation.
Right.
That's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to drag them through the ringer.
But we don't make mistakes.
Exactly.
And that's what I felt with Verizon, we were making, it was getting close to making a mistake.
But you're creating an application for a conceptual review or informal
Mhm.
review. Part of that would be to establish an escrow account,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
which we would then bill against.
Right.
Yeah.
Same as any site plan application, use variance application, any other kind of formal application that comes before.
Do you think that we need to make your escrows higher for a, say, a commercial, a commercial informal versus a residential informal? Because your work's gonna be more?
For me personally, no, maybe on John.
Okay.
Engineering.
Look at the ordinance, we're going to sit here
Okay.
and talk to you like we've done.
Yep.
for the past few years where people come in with informal.
When you work on a paint,
Talk about it.
when you work on a paint now, right, you work with a paint that has a scale to it, right?
What's that?
Properties,
And
law.
whatnot, yes.
But I'm sure John's review would be more, if this is what I'm gonna need, he's not gonna be giving general.
Yeah, you're doing a
recommendations. Here's
brush.
what you have to do.
Yeah.
Rush.
No punch list.
This is what the zoning is.
Right.
and,
Right.
Yeah, that's when, we're not looking for a punch list, we're just looking for, what
Should
our
they come in
ordinance
front
are.
for a full blown, that's what we're
Right,
trying.
and I would tell legal, if this is what you're gonna be required to prove. This is, hardship, these are the criteria under this series case regarding negative criteria, positive criteria. Are you incorporated, or, and I said, you want to
Yes.
need an attorney, don't come in by yourself.
So are we to say, we'll do a $300 in escrow and then $100 fee to the borough, $400 across the board?
But we separate it, right? We put 150 for engineering,
You
150
should,
for
yeah,
legal.
you should, yeah.
And then, does everyone think maybe it's like a $50 application, or is that even?
At least, I mean,
What's our application fee for a regular?
It's only $50.
wait a minute, I can tell you right now.
Absolutely has to go before council. So what we're doing now is planning board can send a recommendation, council can adopt.
Guys, one meeting, please, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you were saying. Say it again, Gene, I'm sorry.
It has to go before mayor and council, so what we're doing is just gonna be making a recommendation.
Right.
Correct. Right now, our residential, this is for variance, it says 50, and non-residential 100. That's what our fee is now. So if we,
formal application.
well, this is for a variance.
When you go to like.
We're very affordable.
So we're going 50, 100, and then now you want to come in informally, and it's 400, right?
This doesn't include escrows.
No, it's 50.
Oh,
This doesn't include escrows.
All right.
That's goes for $1,000.
Yeah,
Still.
this is gonna make us,
And they don't have to draw a site plan. They don't
yeah,
have to
much
bring
more
An
efficient.
attorney, a planning, an engineer, they don't do all
Let me just get copies of that for John. These were you want the fees that were for Summerdale and?
that. To give you an example, Summerdale's fee is $250.
Okay, yeah.
We've been at $50 since 1987.
And Gloucester Township is
No, I agree.
even.
I wouldn't be constructionist, you know that, right? I wouldn't move forward.
No, but we should at least make our money what we're.
Well, there's a cost, attorney, no.
I have, this is what I have. That's fine.
Gloucester Township, and on subdivisions, they have like 500 plus $100 a lot for subdividing
Yeah,
lots.
yeah,
So- So this subdivision, oh, by the way, there may be an application coming in on that piece, the 18 acres in.
Yes, we should have that.
Runnemede. But that would be like a $4,000 application. fee.
Yes.
Per lot.
Barry, one Barry was in, so, we went to a.
Per lot.
Instead of doing an application for a subdivision. Remember the one we did the townhouses on?
Okay, so is everybody pretty comfortable with that? It's pretty simple. 150 escrow for the engineer, 150 escrow for the solicitor, $100 for the informal application, across the board, and it's my opinion that we're gonna probably save them a whole lot of money when they come in here from having to go through a whole big site plan and all that happy stuff, because we can clear a lot of things up by just having them review it before they come in for the informal. It really clears a lot of things up, and they find out, I didn't need to do all that stuff. The ordinance is okay, I don't have to go through all that. It's really gonna be beneficial to the residents, I think, and to us.
So when that applicant comes in here informally,
And-
they put up the $400. If they decide after hearing us and they walk away, is any of that money returned to them?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Yes,
Or
but
is
unused
that
escrow
not
is
utilized
returned.
by John and Dave?
Well,
Unused
unused,
escrow is always returned.
Right.
Now, Gino brings out a very good point. Most people don't want to pay the escrow. Problem is, the taxpayers in front of me shouldn't have to pay for the professionals. The applicant should be paying for
Right,
their
right.
experience. So when they don't want to pay it, and when people don't pay it, we need to withhold them coming in front of this board. and
Right.
We need to withhold them their COs so that they cannot open their businesses until they pay what is owed.
right, that's,
To the
yeah,
borough.
Now, what we could do is somebody comes in on an informal and say, I bill $50.
right.
Well, now you're gonna make your application carry as escrow's over.
Fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I'm all for it.
Okay, so does anybody have any other suggestions? Is what we proposed, 150, 150, and 100, acceptable to everyone, or is there a different suggestion?
Is that across the board, Ken?
Yes,
Okay, commercial,
Easy peasy,
residential?
yep.
Okay.
easy peasy. We're not looking to make money, we don't wanna make any money, we just wanna cover their fees
Make efficiency.
and exactly, be efficient. Okay, maybe we, go ahead, sir.
Hey, could you send that to council as a
I'm gonna
recommendation?
send
and
in
we'll
a
put it as-
recommendation that it was, you could do this is what we would like to see amended, and we're suggesting a $100 application fee across the board for residential, commercial, informals, or conceptual reviews, and $150 for
Okay.
each profession.
Yeah, we could put on the caucus and that first reading at the next week.
And then, what I
Council.
think, maybe at the same time, they can discuss the
Fees.
The other fees, we go with the other ones.
Yeah.
They're not as terrible as I thought, but they're a little off.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, ours.
Yes, because they do get better if you read down our list.
Oh, okay, see, I
They get a little better. We do get $50 per lot, which
Oh, okay.
isn't terrible.
Okay, so, can I get a roll call that we send this up to mayor and council for adoption as read by Mr. Rowan?
Leanna,
Yes.
Rushi? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dickinson? Run out of order there. Chowski?
Yes.
Fullerton?
Yes.
Walperly?
Yes.
Daley?
Yes.
Ranieri?
Yes.
Tapatas?
Here. Yes.
Here?
You change our names all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
If I could just
Thank
get
you.
back to this one thing with the wireless guy, I don't have any plans, but I'll call John and review our stat, and then talking to John, I guess he got plans, between the two of us, we'll make a determination of what type of application they should make. Is that-
Yeah, that's, I think, the
That's
issue.
what you're looking for?
Because he's on the SED zone, and the towers are only allowed in that zone, correct?
Towers are only allowed in that zone. It doesn't.
But he's using that as an argument, that he goes under that.
And don't we now charge, there's a fee that we charge, a rental fee for being on the towers? Yes?
That's not the case.
Or has that not been approved?
A lot of money.
We were talking about that.
He was talking about co-location, which is a good thing. But in your ordinance, co-location means the use of a single tower on the ground by more than one provider.
He doesn't want to let
And
anybody
he's
else.
not even providing, he's not even letting any other provider use that. So I don't understand how that's co-location. He's enhancing his own
Correct.
system. is what
Yes,
he's
it's not co-location. Co-location's the big tower over on high. Yes.
It's their own building, right?
It's their building.
Because this particular case, because it's their own building, it's really not a situation, but the precedence is.
That's the fear that they start
And
to,
that's what I thought, John. I thought it was just something that they needed for their building. You know, and it's kind of like a.
Yeah, it says
police
1,000
building.
feet.
As I said before, I recommend after the meeting, everybody walk out back, look beside the police station.
but that's not the issue.
That's not the issue. I understand what you're saying, and the guy even said he's not gonna let his competitor use his.
Yeah, but what's to say he's not gonna decide to put one up on it? If we say we can do it administratively,
Go back to the record, I understand what you were saying.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is you wanna regulate it
Correct.
to that. You don't want them to pop up
Only
every
sports bar,
2 feet.
yeah.
Then we are in the lane of,
Antennas.
antennas. So every 2 feet, we have an antenna.
That's why you call habitation. So you don't have
Otherwise,
any
it's
sense.
only enhancing its own use, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
And to do it properly.
We have to be
I think,
careful. We have to be
Mayor
careful.
Paz was right.
This may be onerous on this applicant, but. you just
right.
protect-
We have to be careful.
You can't just take their word for it.
No.
What about all the solar cells that are on all the telephone poles? Isn't that-
They're exempt,
Yeah, that belongs.
because it's solar energy, is that correct, isn't it? They're exempted because it's solar power, we can't even regulate if someone's.
That's a
put solar
federal
power.
government,
Panels on their house. Mr. Rockley has in his house, and it's exempt.
That's another, I don't think we have any solar or regulations regarding solar.
No, we talked about that.
It's on the list, it's on the list.
It is, it is. one of those-
Solar things last by itself.
Yeah. All right, so Mayor,
Inherently beneficial use.
so Mayor and Council is going to start reviewing the fee schedule and get back to us on that.
We're gonna make a recommendation, we'll fix this first.
Okay, I'll send this recommendation in, and then we'll go from there.
All right, that's swell. Let me just take a look. Okay, is there anything else under old business we need to go over?
$50 to professional. for the
Yeah.
I have new business.
Good.
Just let everyone know, and it does tie into this, these antennas, towers, things like that. The state of New Jersey has now allowed billboards to be installed south of exit 6. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I saw that.
So what that's done is we had a gentleman come to the borough, council's not aware of this yet, because I did bring it here first to the planning board. It's not a formal, it's not an application, obviously, nothing like that. There's businesses out there now that intend to start looking at properties in all the municipalities to put up these billboards. The planning board and council has to start looking at regulating what's going to happen with these billboards. So the idea is that they're limited by, the state has limited them to properties that are within a certain amount of feet of the turnpike right away. We need to look at this again. We need to make a decision that, do we want to, for example, the borough owns a lot of land along that turnpike. We can allow it only in the public zone, which would buffer it from residential, because there's a concern. We really want to have billboards now all of a sudden. We want a resident, this goes back to the cell towers and
Sure.
the antennas, a resident now renting his land out to put a billboard in the Central Avenue,
Right.
and things like that.
Yeah, I did that.
So there is an opportunity for the borough also to, if it is our land, we would reap the benefits just like any business would. You know, we can allow it in the business zone, like say the SED zone. We can allow it there because it would be very low impact on residential areas and things like that. So we can make it permitted use in these areas. I haven't had a chance to look at our ordinance to see if we even have anything that has to do with billboards.
We do.
We do.
It's very old.
It's very old. Well, let me make it clear.
40-year rule.
The new billboards are all electronic. They are all LED, digital billboards. And the reason for that is they no longer have to go up there and change them. There's no more paper hangers, there's no more, even the large prints that they hang over. These are electronic boards. They are remotely controlled from some central office. Could be anywhere. You push a button and it changes the message.
Pretty cool.
So the town has an opportunity. We have land there. We could work something out. But it really is a land use, planning board, council. This is us all working together to find out what would work for us. So the gentleman who did propose this, or I didn't know about this. Obviously, we read it somewhere. He wanted council to know this, and we have to do something about this. So I want everybody to be aware of it, and let's start thinking about it and figure out what we can do. I think it would be good for the town. Just to give you an example, there's ways where we can tax it. There's ways that we can lease the land back. There's nothing that preclude us from doing that. You know, we actually lease the land back and gain revenue for this. But I think we have to consider our residents when we put up your typical billboard is 20, 30 by 40, 50, 60 feet wide. These are not.
And a lot of them are very, very bright, so.
They can be very,
In
very.
in proximity to a residence.
Absolutely.
Like a Dunkin' Donuts?
You live in the moonlight.
Well, you would look at places like on the turnpike, but you would also look at places like on Hill Avenue and Iron Shell. Because Irish Hill is, as you know, is the highest peak in South
Perfect.
Jersey,
Perfect.
and that'd be a perfect spot for a billboard. Will we be
We'll
known
attach
One
the,
there.
we'll
will
attach
we
the
be known as the
provisions.
shiny place with the big billboard flashing, you know?
But we do have an exit, and I think promoting our exit is important for us.
Business.
For the hotels.
Businesses, everything.
Hotels and everything, I mean, you know.
You can read them from the moon.
Well, let's face it, we do have, when you think about it, with our exit, we do have, I believe, 5 or 6, 7 hotels off exit 3 of the turnpike. Be it the small ones and be it the larger ones, we have, I believe, at least 6 or 7.
And we have 2 in the borough.
Right.
And you get a hotel tax from that.
Right, but then you also have Fairfield and Deptford. I bet you they didn't buy into it. You know what I mean? I mean, we do have some larger entities that I think would benefit from something like that.
You're gonna have a lot of them popping up, like where Scott Lawn is, down by 9th Avenue, that whole general area of the turnpike, they're gonna be popping up all over.
Well, we need to regulate, and that's something that's
Right.
important. Now, the state has already put some regulations, it has to be so many feet from the interchange, so right there, that puts a buffer from the interchange. I don't recall exactly what it was, it might be as much as, 500 or 1,500 feet from the interchange.
Like they did with solar fields and stuff like that.
So I want everybody to be aware of that, we gotta start looking at that too.
That's awesome.
More work.
I'll take them up with exit 6.
Exit 6, down.
On down, yeah. How do you go up with that? Exit 6.
That's the halfway point, that's where the break off to the gate.
Mason Dixon line?
Yeah.
Why they didn't allow it south of that? Maybe they did it, I don't know the history.
Exit 6 is where you.
Billboards are very questionable.
As long as you go to Franklin, no turnpike, you got that gas line.
All right, getting back to, I don't want to prolong this, but I had a couple of emails, I guess it was probably the end of the month. How are we making out with, again, getting back to these escrows and COs? Has Mr. Mecca been able to
It's been resolved.
resolve that?
It's a combination of, we may need to amend our application again to force the applicant to fill out not an affidavit, but somewhere where they promise they're gonna pay their escrow. It's gotta be an escrow. And I don't believe ours has an escrow. We have to look at it again. It should have an escrow.
Absolutely. I mean, how are these applicants going forward and not paying you guys? Not, whether it be you or whether it be
We're not allowing the
land.
borough to.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, the borough has to be reimbursed for all this stuff.
We have to work with our construction department, our zoning department to make sure all this doesn't fall through the cracks. We'll get that. It
If
is,
we need to do anything here, is what I'm
the
asking.
board does not have to do it. We will fix it.
Because it was just kind of
We will
alarming.
fix it.
All right, communications, did you
People
have
do their
anything
jobs.
No, it's not in.
on communications?
Rates.
Did you have any
No, I
communications?
did not.
Anyone else on communications? Good and welfare, at this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to anyone wishing to speak on anything at all, come forward and be heard.
I have about 50 pages, I'll read you.
Come on up.
No?
All right. All right,
Hi, John.
Does anyone want to come
Just want
up?
to make sure my tax dollars are being gone.
Good evening.
hello.
I was just wondering how things are going. Mr. Knight spent some time on my property today, and he told me he'd fill me in tonight on
Good.
a court date for my next door neighbor's wall.
Mr. Knight is on the job. He spoke about it on Monday, I believe, right?
Yes, Mr. Mazziotti had an abatement date of February 23rd, which time I conferred with Mr. Slawinski and advised him I was waiting for weather conditions to abate so I could get proper photos of the property, which today was an ideal day and took advantage of it, went out there, got the photographs. Mr. Mazziotti was not there. I left my card for him to contact me, which he did. He was initiating conversation and discussion with the issue. I referred him to, or advised him to refer this to his attorney and to his engineer and to bring him to court on April 27th.
Are the new chairs comfortable?
Yes,
Mr. Knight leaves one.
yes, he does.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Slawinski.
Thank you, dear. Mr. Dickinson, this isn't, well, anyone else wishing to speak on good welfare? Okay, is there a motion on the floor to close public portion?
Motion to close.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Fulton and by Chief Daly, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, public portion is closed. Mr. Dickinson just put something in front of me. I don't think you were here last meeting about the vapor store, but I do have something that Keith was out there, and he did visit them, and Keith, I'll defer to you. If you want to bring Mr. Dickinson up to speed on the vapor store?
On
Vapor,
the vapor store.
the vapor store.
Well, again, they have a certificate of occupancy for that use only for a store. The health issue that was referred to us was referred back to Camden County Health, Division of Health. The owner of the property and of the store, Mr. Wu, is in violation for failure to obtain a sign permit for putting the sign up, and also for failure to get a temporary banner sign.
This is his fourth offense, correct?
He was advised before, he was advised as a condition on the zoning permit that I issued for commercial establishments. In the comment section, it advises them that they must get a sign permit for any exterior signs and also for temporary banners. On 2 occasions, I met with Mr. Wu after he had the signs and banners placed. They were removed, put out again, and again, you see the one banner there, somewhat secured to the facility by bungee cords. So he was issued a court summons for that, for the wall-mounted sign. And after that, he displayed another banner out curbside, which was once again removed and put out, and I issued a summons for that. And also for failure to properly clean the sidewalk. He's been cited before after
I was gonna
snowfall.
say something.
So,
I mean,
my understanding from June that he was in today after receiving the court summons to pick up the applications for the necessary sign.
I mean, this is what he's putting out there. He's just putting out like these tied up signs. You know, he just keeps putting them up, taking them down, putting them up, taking them down, and I appreciate his diligence in trying to keep that under control. As you can see by my desk, I look over every zoning permit things that Keith sends me, and he's doing a great job out there, and I appreciate him keeping us all in the loop with that. And Mr. Yaneko is back in the news. Mr. Yaneko is the 900 Central Avenue gentleman that was going to put up the pole barn, and he has Mr. Knight back at work again, but I understand he's making some progress. He's giving him a little bit more time.
Yes, as you recall, my comments to Mr. Uneko, which I was certainly in favor of the garage, provided he did not annex the yard
Yes.
or the surrounding property to the garage. Once again, there were some water heaters and some other material stored in the front, which I issued a court summons for. And upon re-inspection of the yard, I went back there, and now I find 2 covered vehicles in addition to an abundance of material that is in the rear yard. Mr. Uneko came to court. I advised him I would give him 3 months, which he agreed to. He has 3 months to complete the garage. All vehicles, either they get in the garage, you know, whether he
Stacked or not.
stacks them, puts them up, dismantles them,
Yes.
hangs them up, however he does it. If they are not in the garage, the unregistered and inoperable vehicles, they must be removed from the premises, along with the rest
Water
of
heaters.
the, shall we say, material that he has stored around the property, to which he agreed.
Good.
So 90 days, hopefully, before he,
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Knight. In 90 days, if he fails to comply, he will be fined
oh, absolutely.
by the judge?
Well, let's put it this way, my recommendation will be fine
Right.
Upon a rendering of a guilty verdict from the judge.
Okay.
And
My question to you is this, and he is yet to finish that garage, correct?
he's near completion.
Oh, okay, so he's close to completion.
Yes,
Okay.
We're hoping the weather lets him complete it.
Well, my whole thing is that, it's not this, that if someone was given, this was done before I got on the board, if someone does not complete a garage such as that, finishes halfway, it becomes an eyesore, actually even a safety hazard, does the board have the right to order him to now to remove that half-built building?
The board doesn't do that. That's a code enforcement.
Okay, that's a question.
This, as you well know, has to come to closure.
Yes.
This has been an ongoing issue since 2007. So this, as all books, there is a final chapter, and it must come to it.
I'm just happy that the garage is getting close to being done.
You've given him the garage that he wanted.
Yes.
So.
Close to what he wants.
Yes.
Close to, as close to reasonably possible as to what he wants. But in return for that, he has to comply. And when I see 2 additional vehicles in there with covers on
They're
them.
like bunnies, they're multiplying over
Yes,
there.
you saw that.
Why does
It
he
just
scrap
continues.
everything?
And quite frankly, that this is the end.
Yep. Well,
So,
thank you for your diligence. We appreciate it on behalf of the whole board, and the borough have to look at that. Last but not least, did our subcommittee on the streets and tax maps get together?
Oh, that's me.
We haven't done that.
Yeah, none of them.
We're gonna talk about it, but it's Nick, Joe, and myself,
I think
and,
4 of us.
Craig.
Well, it's going to be 3. It's going to be 3 and Craig's the alternate for sunshine rules.
Oh, we do have, we have the other 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody can't make it, Craig's the
We have to
alternate.
get the other.
Okay, no big deal.
Apologize.
Anything else from any members of the board?
That's all I want.
Entertain a motion to adjourn? All right, Mr. Dickinson, seconded by Mr. Ockerly. Meeting is adjourned at 8:30.